All right, Shalom. This is Brother Shamar from the Phoenix camp. With that being said, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the brothers that are doing this work in truth and sincerity. To write to lesson. This is 1 Samuel 12 and 24. It says, only fear the Lord and serve him in truth with all your heart, for consider how great things he has done for you. So every brother that's in this truth, man, you got to understand and realize what actually we've been delivered from. All you got to do is look at your family members. All you got to do is look at the people that you knew in the world, and you see the hopelessness that they live with on a day-to-day basis. You see what they value as important and what they give their time and energy to. You see the behaviors, you see the demons on them, you see the states of their spirit, you see their mental instability. So you got to consider what great things the Lord has done for you, man. You got to realize your privileged position above the people that you know, because we are in a privileged position, man. So being in a privileged position, that comes with responsibilities. That comes with certain obligations. That comes with certain manners of being and codes of conduct. So you got to consider the great things that the Most High has done for you. So we're going to get Ezra 9 and 24. What is it? 9 and 13, Salakia. And it says, Ezra 9 and 13, and after all that has come upon us for our evil deeds and for our great trespass, seeing that thou, our power, has punished us less than our iniquities deserve, and has given us such deliverance as this. So you gotta consider that, man, because there's no man that's above the average sinner. Just because you're in this truth doesn't make you above the sinner that you see in the world, the wicked Jake that you see in the world. You probably done worse things. You have probably had a more wicked spirit than the Jake that you point a finger at, man. But it's only by grace that we're called to be in this truth, and it's only by grace that we have been brought out of that darkness. So you're not supposed to have a holier than thou spirit against these two-thirds out here. Because guess what? You were numbered among them. Paul said himself that he was the chiefest of sinners. Go ahead and get that. This is 1 Timothy 1 and 15. It says, this is a faithful saying and worthy of all acceptation, that Yahweh Shai came into the world to save sinners, of who I am chief. So Paul, in his letter to Timothy, he acknowledges the fact that he was we at one time used to be a chief or a great sinner. He did it, man. Let's get that word chief. First in rank, influence, principle, the first time and place, accession of things to persons, uh, the best chief. So he was really doing it, man. So he was really out there persecuting the Lord's church. But yet he came into the truth and he had a humble spirit. He didn't have that pointing finger spirit, man. He didn't have that holier than thou spirit. He didn't have that bitching about a splinter in your brother's eye when you got a plank in your own eye. He knew that he was a wretched man. He even called himself a wretched man. Let's go ahead and get that. Oh, wretched man that I am. So you got to consider what the Most High has done for you, man. You got to consider the mercy bestowed upon you just in the fact that you know this truth. So whatever hell or affliction that the Lord gives us, we deserve it, man. So if you go through an affliction and you go through some type of trial, you shouldn't be crying out the why me, Lord. You shouldn't be bitching and moaning because most likely we deserve it. The Lord, He rebukes, He corrects. And when you go through those trials and afflictions, hey, He's having mercy on you, man. Because the worst thing they can do is take away the spirit from you. So if you're going through trial and affliction, but yet you still understand this truth, and you still have a desire to learn it and be a part of this truth, the Lord's having mercy upon that ass whooping that He's putting upon you, man. Sometimes you got to just shake somebody up. And that's where rebuke comes in. That's where reproof comes in. That's where self-examination comes in. Sometimes you gotta sit your ass down, man, and consider the great things the Lord has done for you. Going back to 1 Samuel 12 and 24. Before we get that again, let's go again and get this. This is Romans 7 and 24. It says, "O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? I thank Yahweh to Meshach Yahweh our power. So then with the mind I myself serve the law of Yahweh, but with the flesh the law of sin." Because we're still in these chains of darkness that have the desires for pleasure, have the desires to sin. The Yahweh Shai spoke about the spirit in the flesh. Paul, he went into great detail about the spirit in the flesh. Verse 23, "But I see the law of my members warring against the law of my mind. What he knows to be right, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members," man. So hey, with that, man, you really gotta have a battle on your hands. You really have a fight on your hands. And that's why Paul, he likened this truth to competition in sport, because in competition in sport you're fighting and putting in great effort for a win. You're fighting an opposing factor. When you're in competition, you're against an opposing factor. When you're in sport, you're going against an opposing factor, and our opposing factor is our flesh. Paul, he likened truth to a race. What's the opposing factor in a race? Because he said, "Run the race that you may win." The opposing factor in a race is yourself first and foremost. Is your mind telling you you're tired? Your mind telling you to slow down? Your mind telling you to ease up? And then you got those other people that you're competing against. So there's opposing factors. We also liken it to a fight. So Paul was well acquainted with the sinful side of his human existence. He called himself the chiefest of sinners. So you got to consider that, man. You got to consider the wretchedness of your own self. You got to call yourself out on your own bullshit. And we all have it bullshit that we need to call ourselves upon, out ourselves upon. We all have shortcomings that we have to regulate and fight against. So you shouldn't be in the spirit of all those 2/3. Yeah, you bring out the scriptures of judgment according to the 2/3. You let the scriptures do that. But you can't be in the spirit where you're better than the next. You think you're better than the next person because you know certain breakdowns. Because we were once those sinners. Let me get a scripture real quick. This Colossians 1 and 12, it says, "Giving thanks unto the Father, which has made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light." So He's talking about giving thanks. Going back to 1 Samuel 12 and 24. Let's get 1 Samuel 12 and 24. It's like, it says, only fear the Lord and serve him in truth with all your heart, for consider how great things he has done for you. So that's what it is. Let's go back to Salakia. Where was it? Colossians 1 and 12 says, giving thanks unto the Father, which has made us, let's get that word made, qualified us, meet, so he found us worthy to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light. Let's get that word light, the light, who has delivered us from the power of darkness and has translated us, let's get the word translated, transferred us to the kingdom of his dear Son. So we were all part of the world, man. Our mind state, our desires, our ambitions, our spirit, our motives, our morals, they were all pertaining to the wickedness of this world at one time. And through Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai's grace, we he found us worthy by his grace, not nothing of our own doing, to be partakers of the heritage of the saints of light, to come into this truth, because the saints would have the truth, the saints would have the understanding, the elect. Once again, who delivered us from the power of darkness. So we were under the influence of the power of darkness, which is in the world. We were under the influence, just like you see your family members under the influence of the powers of darkness. That's why you see the 2/3 of our people, they're under the influence of the powers of darkness. Scripture is called the God of this world. Who the God of this world has blinded. Let's go ahead and get that. Let's get this 2 Corinthians 4 and 1. So therefore, seeing we have this ministry, it says attendance, aid, service ministry of those who execute commands of others. So we're called into a service. We're called into a labor. Therefore, seeing we have this service, this labor, as we have received mercy, we faint not. And come into this truth to be hired as a laborer, that's a form of mercy by the Most High. Because he could have left you in the world all fucked up, man, in a hopeless condition, thinking that what just as long as you're good natured and have good intentions, you're good with the Most High. It says, but renounce the hidden things of dishonesty, not walking in craftiness, nor handling the word of Yahweh deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth, commending ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of Yahweh. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. Let's get these footnotes. Failed, perishing. Who's the ones that are going to be perishing? 2/3 of our people, whom the God of this world has blinded. So we were in the influence of darkness. We were following the so-called American dream. Materialism, hedonism. All the lies that were taught us how we were supposed to be. It says, whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Yahushua, the image of Yahweh, should shine unto them. You see, because this word is so supernatural, it's so empowering, that it will have effect on your life. But whether the Lord allows that effect to take place upon you depends on Him. Depends on whether He blocked it from you or not. Because there's a lot of people who the Lord has blocked it from. And then to see that, all you gotta do is look around your own personal family. They think you're crazy. They think you're crazy for going out there, for sacrificing so much time and energy and money and effort into this Bible stuff, like they'll say it. So going back to 1 Samuel 12:24, we'll close it on that. You got to consider it, man. It says, only fear the Lord and serve him in truth with all your heart, for consider how great things he has done for you. But if you shall still do wickedly, you shall be consumed, both ye and your king. But the point of it is verse 24, man. Let's see. Yeah, the point is verse 24. So you have to have a spirit of with gratefulness and humbleness and meekness every day. And if you're in that self-righteous spirit, thinking that your you yourself individually is better because you know better than someone else, you know the truth, then you're in the spirit of the Pharisee. See Luke 18:11, the Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, Yahweh, I thank thee that I am not as other men are extortioners, unjust, adulterers, even as this publican. For I fast twice in the week, I give tithes all that I possess. And the publican standing afar off will not lift up so much as his eye to heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, God be merciful to me, a sinner. Because the book of Psalms says, I'm going to go ahead and get it. Contrite heart. Salak. Yeah, Psalms 34:18 says, the Lord is nigh unto them that have a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. About Psalms 51:17. The sacrifice of Yahweh a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart, O Yahweh, thou wilt not despise. For thus saith the high and lofty one that inhabits eternity, whose name is holy, I dwell in the high and holy place, with him also that is of a contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble, and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. For Isaiah 6:2, for all those things that has mine hand made, and all those things have been, says the Most High. But at this man would I look, even to him that is a poor and of contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word. So now you know who the Lord's dealing with. He ain't dealing with no self-righteous, uh, holier than thou, overly righteous individual. He's dealing with a man that is broken. Those that aren't sick have no need of physician, right? Roughly paraphrasing. So, that was a lesson. A few scriptures to meditate upon. Most I will hope is edifying. With that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Kahala, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Let's keep pushing. Shalom.